Welcome, everyone. I'm glad you're here to join us. If you have questions or comments along the way, please go to the comments section and we'll go through and answer those at the end. Thank you. With me today, I'm really thrilled to have him because somebody I've known for a long time, somebody I have a lot of respect for, Jim Breen, who runs learning services for InterSystems. Welcome, Jim. Maybe tell the audience a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Thanks, John. I have been with InterSystems 23 years. Hard to believe it's been 23 years. And actually really the founder of Learning Services with John. And it's been a pleasure, working with John in client services and really looking to help people learn.
Thanks for the compliments, Jim. I feel the same way. So, as you know, my passion is helping people. And running support gives me the opportunity to see that in action. But there's a close relationship between support and education. Wouldn't it be great if a customer just could have get access to the answer they need, whether it's an article or online learning or something else, and not even have to call support? I think that would be great. Whatever, I want it to be a great experience for the customer, no matter what. So I think it's a good partnership between support and learning services. So that's a little background about my passion. Jim, I know what your passions are, but why don't you share your passion with the audience?
Yeah, I share your passion, John, on wanting to help people and wanting to help people learn, continue to develop themselves and be, successful in whatever they do. For me, it's, when that light bulb turns on in someone's head and they're able to learn something. So everything that we do in learning services, really from day one until today, has been around, human-centric needs and human-centric learning. What is it that they need to learn and what is the best way for them to learn? Because there's different types of learning styles. People learn in different ways. And we try to meet all of those needs and the different, varieties of way that we deliver learning. And we also like to work with people. We love working with customers. We love working with learners to figure out, so what is it that you need and what is the best way for us to deliver that to you? Is it ahead of time? Is it during? Is it after? Do you like to learn by reading? Do you like to learn by videos online? There's so many different ways. But again, I think for me, my passion is around, when they're able to gain that knowledge and do something with it to be successful in their careers or in their life.
Yeah, it's true. I like to watch do-it-yourself YouTube videos when I'm breaking apart my lawnmower to fix something, and working on my car. So that's how I learn. It's kind of just in time when I need to. And I mentioned online courses. Could you describe what the online courses are like?
Sure. So our online courses are pretty much available anytime, anywhere, for anyone, and all for free. So our online courses, one of our tenets is really to have people put, hands or fingers to the keyboard. We want people to be able to take what they're learning and reinforce it by doing. So our online courses are available, through learning.intersystems.com, and you can sign up for any course. So you pick, there's a whole variety. I think we have over 900 to 1,000 different, learning courses. And what they do is, it leads you through it. And what we like to do is we like to create a learning path, maybe if we're able to work with the customer or with the learner, and create a path that they would follow to be able to learn what they want to learn. So it might be onboarding somebody, so they might need to know a number of different things, and it might be just one quick thing that they need to find out and learn. So in a learning path or in a learning course, it could be, they would hear videos, they would have some do-it-yourself, there'd be some quizzes really just to reinforce what you're learning, and there'd be some reading, there'd be some resources that are pointing to documentation to reinforce your learning. So it's a really wide variety of ways to learn. And when the learner goes into learning.intersystems.com, they can actually choose, I'm looking for a video, or I'm looking for documentation, or I'm looking for a course on this specifically. So it's a really wide variety because we want to meet the needs of all of our customers.
So how do you coordinate all of that? If I'm new to our products and they want to learn about Python and Fire and something specific, how do I find which courses or articles or classroom training? How do I find the right resources?
Yeah, if you go to our main website, intersystems.com, you will see a knowledge center. So if you go into the knowledge center, you can look and it'll show you what we have available for classroom training, online learning, certification, and documentation. And if you go to each one of these, it'll actually show you what's available, or it'll ask you, like, where would you like to go? What would you like to learn? And learning.nitrosystems.com, you can search, you can filter. There's many different ways to find what you need. But one of the best ways is really to reach out to us. Like, we're available 24/7, via email, online, just to find our recommendations. So we'd love to work with customers. We'd love to work with learners to help them really develop a path of learning that's going to be the most effective for them. So they can reach out to us in a variety of different ways.
And are you looking at generative AI to help with that too?
It's interesting that you mentioned that. We are definitely looking to do that. So as we're moving into the future, right now we're in a project that we would like to create like a co-pilot, which is like a virtual assistant that uses artificial intelligence. So when a learner comes to us in any way that they can, any means that they can get to us, it'll sort of know them, and it knows if they've met us before. And if it hasn't, it may ask a few different things, or it may already know, like, if you are a customer, or what product you might have purchased, or if you've taken a test with us before, like for certification. And what it would do, it would help to create really a customized learning path for you. It might ask you, like, what is it that you're looking to learn today? Is this something you need right away? Is it something you want to learn over time? Is it something out of your typical learning path? You want to get into something new? So it would be your own personal assistant into learning, so that we can, customize and be able to get people to learn exactly what they need when they need to know it. So it's not just a course that's been put out there or an online course that's been developed for everyone. It's going to be more like a learning path specifically for the learner.
I should have learned to turn off Teams so we didn't get that annoying beep. Sorry about that.
No problem.
This is live. So Jim, I was walking past a conference room, this is a few years ago, and I saw two people from your group standing on a conference table, looking down with the camera. And I'm thinking, this team is having so much fun. It's like a Pixar team.
We are a little bit like a Pixar team for our online learning. So we have very creative folks on our team. We have instructional designers, we have videographers, we have, content developers, and they work to create the most innovative learning that they possibly can. So we do have a studio here. We do a lot of images. We do a lot of video. So often they'll do anything to catch a shot. So if it's on a table or the top of a building, out a window, our guys are there to really create something unique for the learner to help them learn.
I think they were doing claymation that day.
We've done
They
that.
definitely have a lot of fun.
A little bit of everything. We'd love to hear from people. Like, I know we have an open chat here. We'd love to hear from folks. Like, what is it that you're looking for? How can we help you? So if you have, feedback or questions, please put them into the chat and we'll be happy to answer those.
So Jim, I'm going to turn this around for just a second. So if there are people in the audience that are building up content for learning and they want it to be a great customer experience, maybe you have 2 or 3 pieces of advice in how they approach that.
Well, what I would say is work with us.
On the spot, yeah.
I would say, work with us. We'd happily work with you to create the best content that you can. The first thing I would say is, look at the needs, like do a needs assessment, like what is needed by the learner and what is it needed by that learner's, company or the manager, and to be on the same page. And then look, so what is it going to be that's going to make them successful? And then I would look at, how learners learn. You have a wide variety of folks. Some people, like John, when you're fixing your lawnmower, it's like DIY, quickly hop to YouTube and find a video on it. And we have a number of those too, like to help you quickly learn something. We actually have some videos on YouTube. But to find out like how people learn best, to be a great to take into your design, to make sure that you're designing for that human need, for the insights into that. And then I would say, build it out, and always, we like to be very interactive with our learners. Like, we like to iterate. So we ask them for feedback as we're building things. We'd like to test it out. So a thing I would recommend is test it out with a few people and look for subject matter experts. The experts are the folks where you're going to find out, how do people learn? Like, if they're out in the field, they might actually have had some experience on how people are learning this. So they're great to tap into. And then again, always iterate and always look over your stuff and make sure it doesn't go out of date. And when it does, like either update it or take it offline.
That's a great point. So if I could summarize some of the key points I took away from it, it's really take the time to understand your audience. Don't rush through that, because if you get the audience wrong, then what you build is not going to be very as effective. Secondly, what I heard, Jim, was keep it simple. Don't try to boil the ocean, right?
Right.
If it's easy to do a 5-minute or a 30-second video, just focus on that rather than building out a complete course, and continue to iterate. The feedback loop is really, really important because the audience changes over time.
Mm-hmm.
Just to share a fact with the audience, so in healthcare, the turnover currently is about 30% turnover for nurses. And that's not just in the US, that's around the world. So there's a continuous need for education as people change jobs, change responsibilities, get promoted, leave and go to a different organization. That's one of the reasons that I think education and support really go hand in hand, because support is dealing with those people too. And Jim, if I could ask you to share, there's a project underway right now that you're familiar with, in which we're taking some of the learning assets we have, like documentation, for example, and trying to tie that together with support. And that's a really great example of how the partnership between the two groups works. But could you explain what that project is?
Yes, we have a number of projects. So what we like to do in working with our other teams, like we would love to, reduce support calls to almost nothing, because that means that people have problems or they have questions or issues that they need to learn something. Typically calls are about, how do I fix something? How do I learn something? If we could provide that right away, it would be great. So we're working with our different teams, like the support division, to make sure that we know, okay, what kind of calls are coming in? What kind of content can we build? And can we use AI to do that? Can AI, do an assessment of, okay, what are the most common issues that people have? And let us build, content around that, and to provide a support advisor like a link. So if they do get the call, they can say, oh, go right here. This is how you learn. It's like really interactive, working with different teams. We look at how we can use AI in many different ways, like even creating our storyboards. So we create storyboards before we create a video. And we're using AI now to help us build those storyboards so that we can produce things much more quickly and get information out there more quickly. So if we hear from sales engineers or salespeople or support folks about learning that they see needed in the field, we're able to respond much more quickly. Like we want to be very agile in how we produce content so that it meets folks' needs.
Excellent. Just pausing for a second, thinking about other questions. Jim, is there anything you think would be interesting to the group?
Would it be okay to mention, like at the summit? Like I know the summit's coming up. If people are coming to the summit, to come talk to us, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I'll talk about events. Yeah. Okay. So Jim, you said you like to talk to customers and get engaged with customers to get feedback and get inspired ideas and find out what's working, what's not working. We have a lot of events I know your team attends. Where can customers in the audience right now, where can they look forward to meeting up with your team?
Sure. So there's many different ways to meet up with us. In each one of our venues, like online, classroom, documentation, there's always a button to press that you can be in touch with us to ask a question, report a problem, or just to reach out to us for us to, contact you. We're going to be at the Global Summit, so InterSystems' big global summit every year that's coming up. And we're going to have a table where you can interact. You could have your own personal trainer. So you might sign up for something that you want to learn and have your own personal trainer to teach you that. We're also going to be asking people more about what we're trying to build with AI. So we're trying to build what I call a hyper-personalization experience with our customers, with our learners. And hyper-personalized means so that you come and it knows you, or it remembers you, and it knows where you're coming from, like I was speaking about before. And we want to make sure that we're building it in a way that's going to be really efficient for our customers. It's going to be built in a way that you would like to see your information presented to you. So if you come to our table, we're going to be asking people, we're going to be doing interviews and saying, this is what we're building. This is what it looks like. Here are different things that we could have maybe on a Copilot page or a virtual learning assistant. How would you like these things arranged? Or what are the different pieces of knowledge that you use the most? Is it from documentation? Would you rather read documentation than watch a video? Or would you like the video content on your Copilot page? So that we can build these pages in your learning assistant in the way that you would most likely use it. Because the worst thing to do is to build something, whether it's a course or a Copilot, that people aren't going to use, or it's not going to be efficient in your learning. The whole idea of hyper-personalization is to get you up and running as quickly as possible, whether you're a new customer to our technology or someone that's looking for one piece of knowledge to solve a problem.
Can we take a pause for just a minute, Jim? My Teams, even though I closed it, it's still popping up. And let me just deal with that. I think we should go back through that and make it a little bit, so how to silence this. You know how you silence? I closed it, but somehow it kept on making a lot of noise.
You can put on your do not disturb.
Right. Where do I do that? Is that under me?
Yeah, it's under your profile, like when you're saying you're away or you're available.
Yeah, set status, got it.
I'm good. I don't know if we want to go into the history or not in this webcast, but
we'll pick that up at the end, Jim. I think we should. So I want to repeat the question about events. And Jesse, is this podcast live after Global Summit? Just before? Okay.
Yeah, I think this week, right?
Okay. Oh, good. All right. So let me repeat the events thing, Jim, and then go into hyper-personalization.
Okay.
But maybe just, tighten it down a little bit. Yeah.
Okay.
So Jim, I know you said you want to interact, or your team wants to interact with customers and get feedback and get inspired ideas and see what's working, what's not working. How can they do that?
Sure. So aside from our online offerings, you can give us feedback anytime. There's buttons there for that. We would love to talk to customers. We would love to see you at the upcoming Global Summit. It's coming up in June. And what we were doing there, we have a couple of different offers there. One would be if you wanted to learn something through a trainer, we have your own personal trainers. So you can sign up for like an hour or so with the trainer, and you can sit with the trainer and they'll actually train you on something that you're looking to learn around our technology. It's a great way to learn that one-on-one. We're also doing some interviews. So we've created this, what I'm calling the hyper-personalization learning project. Mm-hmm. So the hyper-personalization is when you come to learn, you have this great personalized experience. Like it remembers you, or if you're new, it might know if you bought a product from us, like that kind of thing, so that it personalizes your learning. And at the summit, we're going to ask you to look at our designs, because we like to find out before we build things to make sure that they're going to be effective, and pick out things that you would say, yeah, this is what I would like in a virtual assistant. This is what I would like in a Copilot. Yeah, I would like to see documentation as opposed to seeing videos, or I prefer videos. So on my learning page, on my Copilot, I would like these things. So we're going to give you a lot of options. We're going to ask you for your opinions. We're going to challenge you with some of the questions that we're looking to build, also that you can be successful. Like the best learning experience is getting what you need when you need it in order for you to learn to be successful in your career.
Well, it's really well said. So it's like support. It's a high touch experience.
Yes. Yeah, we love the touch, and we'll be around through the entire summit to talk to people, as well as online. Like we're available 24/7. We are happy to meet with customers, especially to create personalized learning, whether it's for at a department, whether it's onboarding, or whether it's for one specific person. Yeah, please feel free to reach out to us.
I wonder if there's somebody in the chat asking for your phone number so they can call you at 3 a.m.
Maybe we could do that. Our work number, maybe. You might get voicemail.
So Jim, when you joined the company, we had a documentation team that was actually part of development. We had a learning services team, which was really just classroom training. And then we transformed everything. Talk about that transformation, if you will. Take us through that journey.
Sure.
What were the things that were were fascinating, what things were really hard to do, what lessons did you learn?
Yeah. So when I came to learning services, it wasn't even learning services. I think it was education. And we named it learning services specifically because I believe, like, and you do too, John, is we have a passion for learning, that it's really a service that we provide to people. It's not just education. It's not just training. It's actually a service to learn. So when I first came on board, I think we had like 2 trainers. And I call that learning services V1, like our version 1 of learning services. And as time grew on, we built more trainers, we brought more people in, we built more courses. We started reaching out to doing training both inside InterSystems, like our learning center, as well as out at customer sites. We also did an outreach to colleges and universities. It was the beginning of the InterSystems University program. And from there, we really understood what people are looking to learn. We wanted to make sure that people had a passion to learn our technology. So over time, the training group expanded, but we also wanted to reach out further. Like, we were getting a lot of demands for knowledge, but we didn't have really the person power to reach everybody. And we knew, because we're international, that's even more difficult if you're putting trainers on flights to train in different languages in different countries. So what I'm calling our version 2, Learning Services version 2, is when we launched our online learning. So it was about, I think it was 2015. We invested a lot of time and energy, and we built an online learning team. So we had, like I was speaking about earlier, content developers, we have instructional designers, we have videographers, et cetera, et cetera. And what we did is we said, we want to give you what you want to learn 24/7, anytime, any place, anything. And that's what we burst into the online field. I think we were one of the first companies that used some of the technology that was out there, including some of the technology that came from MIT. It was a great success. We had toyed with it earlier in our career, but it was really, I think, in 2015 that we launched. And then as time went on, we said, what other things in the company do people use to learn our technology? And documentation was identified. Like, that is a way that people learn. So we brought documentation under our umbrella. So we had classroom, we had online, and we had documentation. And then shortly thereafter, I think it was about 6 years ago, we started doing certification. So people wanted to be certified in the technologies that they're learning so that they could market themselves, or proof of knowledge in their company. So people are getting learning badges, and it's really expanded a lot. So I look at the next learning services V3 is this hyper-personalization, where we bring in AI and we really meet the needs of all the people that are out there.
That's great. I've seen some previews of what's coming, and I'm really excited. And support is also using generative AI to solve issues faster and be more responsive. So it's terrific. We're living in exciting times, Jim. Can't wait until version 4.0. But let's get 3 done first.
Yeah. And we have a great team. The nice thing one of the things I'm really proud of, in learning services, is the people that we've recruited. Like, we have such talented people on our teams, and all of our teams that are just really passionate about how do we help people, whether it's through docs, through learning, certification, classroom, and they're there to innovate and to make it better and better every time that we do something new.
Great. All right, take a quick moment for a breather. Jesse? Jim, what do we miss? Anything?
I think we got most everything. I think we did past and present, we did history, we did call to action. Yeah, so maybe in your wrap up, you might want to invite people to, go to learning.intersystems.com, check out our content, take an exam. What we could do, John, is we've worked with Lead North, J2, and Ready on creating like onboarding programs for their people, for their staff, if you wanted to do something like that.
Yeah, I think we should do that without naming them, and just say, we've helped customers onboard their people faster and built, custom onboarding programs.
Okay.
As a partnership.
Sure.
All right. Good to go. So Jim, you must have a lot of experiences working with customers. Is there something, really fun or funny or interesting as a story you want to share? I love stories.
Yeah, great stories. Off the top of my head, nothing overly funny. One of the great experiences I always found is, working with customers and partners on how do they want to educate their folks. Like we've worked with different customers and partners on creating really like onboarding programs. So it might be a new product that they're bringing on board and they need to get their people up to speed, and something that they can continue to use, after people might leave or go to other companies. Which we find is it's a lot of fun. And the nice thing is to be with the customers and see that success and see people learning, as opposed to, just seeing it from corporate.
Yeah.
And I think
Go ahead, Jim. Sorry.
No, I was trying to think of some of the fun things. Some of the great fun that I've had is, working with students through our campus program, as well as our students that come in. We do a lot with our interns, and they always bring a whole different perspective with them of like how fast they can learn and how they love our technology. Like we've been one of the best kept secrets for years. And when we bring in these really bright, students and they see our technology and they love it, they're almost like, why haven't we, promoted this more? And I think that's one of our biggest challenges is getting the word out there. And for learning services, it's the same thing. Often people don't even know that we exist or that all these learning opportunities exist for them. So,
Jim, I really appreciate you joining me for this podcast. It's very interesting. I hope it's interesting to the audience, but please give us feedback if there's something you like, something you'd like to see us change in the future. I'd love to hear feedback. The chat, the comments section is available. I hope there are some questions coming in. We'll take a look in a second. And we'll also share the site that Jim mentioned, learning.intersystems.com. Please go check it out. It's a lot of fun. Jim, thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here, and I'll let you get back to work.
Great. Thanks, John.
After the Q&A.
After the Q&A. Thanks for your support through the years. If it wasn't for you, we wouldn't have the success that we've had.
Oh, thanks, Jim. Thank you. Take care.
I know.